Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the latest edition of Fran Coach's Franchising 101 series. I am Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of Fran Coach and your Franchising 101 host. We are excited today to bring you the May edition of our Franchisor Spotlight. Franchisor Spotlight, we are going to spend about a half hour and we're going to feature one of our franchise partners and really take a chance to get a deep dive into what they are all about. This month, we are featuring a highly innovative and emerging franchise that is in a constantly growing industry. Some of the amazing benefits we're going to talk about today. This franchise has an average ticket price for their customers almost $1,000 per transaction, membership model for recurring revenue, a professionally and highly trained staff, can be a full-time or semi-absentee owner, and it is available in virtually every market. Sounds pretty good, right? But before we tell you that story, we've got to, of course, tell you this one. Who is Fran Coach? Fran Coach is a national search firm dedicated to working with individuals who are interested in owning a franchise. We are partnered with over 500 of the top franchisors in the country, spanning nearly 60 industries. Our goal is to help clients find the absolute best franchise for them to own. And the goal of the Franchising 101 series is to help educate people on all aspects of franchise ownership. So that is us. Now let's get to the good stuff. Who's joining us today? We have with us Miss Danielle Wright, and Danielle is the Director of Franchise Development for a featured franchise today, Medspa810. Danielle, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, peachy. Danielle, we've got great news for you. I don't know if I told you this, but we are not only live on Zoom for this webinar, but we are live worldwide on social media. So I don't want you to get intimidated by that because there's literally tens of people around the world that are tuned in right now for this. But we're kind of cool. This is our first one, so you're the guinea pig on that. So thanks for joining us, and thanks for being the unwitting guinea pig on us being live with social media everywhere as well. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
But tell us a little bit about Medspa810. We got a bunch of things we're going to ask you, but first off, we like to just understand, as if we were a consumer, what the heck does Medspa810 do? Services? Who are the customers? What's that all look like?
So thanks for having me. First off, Medspa810 is just as it sounds. It is a spa where women, men of all ages can come and get aesthetic treatments like injectables, Botox, Juvederm, facials, massages, laser hair removal, body contouring. Body contouring is big. So it's to get an experience of making yourself feel good and beautiful with getting various treatments from a medical aesthetics.
Wow. Okay. So those were all probably a little bit new for me anyway. But what can I go? I'm an old guy. What kind of things could I go there for?
I think the jury's out on that. I think the ship has sailed for you. I think you should probably just stay where you are. When it comes to the service program for Med Spa, your body contouring is what we call cool sculpting. So they use cryotherapy to freeze your fat cells and the body metabolizes those out. So this is a way to get liposuction without actually having to go under the needle, right? So injectables, they are included in the Juvederm, Botox. I'm sure anybody that's on here from a female perspective know what it is. And from a male perspective, maybe your wife is secretly spending money on it. So beware. Facials are a wide range of different types of facials. Everything from a standard, let's cleanse the dead cells off of your face to what some affectionately call a vampire facial, which kind of boosts the collagen inside of on your face through using your plasma in your body. So that's a little different. Laser hair removal has been around for a while, where they use laser therapies to remove hair from the follicle, and they have multiple treatments to do that to make sure that the hair doesn't come back or grow back in those unwanted areas. Same with peels and IPLs. These are just things that people are doing for themselves to give the long lasting beautification to their skin, and so that we age gracefully as time ticks on. So that's kind of the service offering, some details. For those clients that don't necessarily do this, hands up in the sky. I'm pretty sure if you can see my picture, if I were to flip on my camera right now, I'm in an age bracket that is, unladylike to discuss, but women tend to be the patron here, but men look into this type of program because we as females do spend a lot of money and time making sure that age is our friend and not our foe.
Gotcha. So the cool sculpting thing sounded pretty cool for me. That means I could lose a little fat without actually having to work out. So that's good. Even if I'm not, then maybe I could just be the customer that gets the gift card for my fiance, right? Even though she wouldn't need any of this because she's awesome, but that might be what I'm looking at. So, okay, so cool. We've got all of that. Tell us a little bit then, just Medspa810, kind of a little backgrounds, kind of history on the organization.
So as you kind of click through these slides, it'll just kind of pop up a few things about what the vision of Medspa810 is in their growth. We're what they call a micro emerging franchise. So we only have a handful of locations here in the States, but we are looking to be the global industry leader on delivering a best-in-class experience so that our guests can come in, spend an hour or two with us, and then have that repeat experience, right? There are other locations and other businesses that dabble in a few of these services, but because we're wanting to give you a true spa experience as if you're going to the Ritz-Carlton for your spa day, but we're wanting to do that in your backyard. So with that, we're merging both of those ideas from a med spa perspective and a day spa perspective to really give our guests that experience that keeps bringing them back in a cost-effective manner. So you were to go to like the liposuction versus the cool sculpting, or doing a different type of level of treatment, this is something that we're able to provide these services for the everyday consumer. So that's our real vision for the brand. Our future growth options are wide. We have spas in Arizona, Kentucky. We're wanting to really blanket the country with these beauty transforming services in this brand. So we're excited about where we're positioned, where we're going, and working with people like you to really bring this spa experience to your backyard and your community.
Very cool. So what's, I guess maybe for people that aren't super familiar with the industry, maybe kind of share a little bit about the kind of the overall market, the growth potential, kind of what some of those numbers look like.
So it is a fragmented market. Like I was speaking earlier, there are a few service providers that may just do the Botox or the injectables, or there may be just the facials that are tied to a massage spa of some sort. So aesthetics is a very large industry, $27 billion by 2023. And it's, wow, think about that. That's 2 years from now. Even in a pandemic, we haven't seen our numbers take a dip. Our owners actually saw increases. So what does that mean for you as a potential franchise owner, right? It's that people are still spending money in these categories, if not more so now. If I'm on the Zoom meet, or I am on a Snapchat or an Instagram, or I'm taking selfies or showing the world that I'm out and about and living pre-pandemic life, I want to make sure that the wrinkles and, as you would say, Tim, the fat is not showing up from my 2020 relaxation vacation with COVID, right? So ultimately, the aesthetics industry is an ever-growing and changing business. There are opportunities within this franchise to be able to offer services all the way up through hormone therapies and various treatments as far as weight loss and supplements and B12 shots. So anything and everything that someone would look to do to increase their well-being, their health, and their wellness is something that the med spa industry taps into. So you're going to continue to see that industry grow and us tap into the different types of products and services that can be offered with that oversight from the medical community. So you have a large industry here that being in this type of model gives you that versatility to be able to tap into those ever-changing services.
So, and that fragmented market thing you talked about, I think, is really key with this because, all of those services you mentioned, I mean, people that are looking at this, all kidding aside, we've heard of pretty much all of those, and there are places where you can get some of those. What Medspa810 is doing is you're bringing the possibility to have all of those essentially under one roof. So you are kind of the one-stop shop for pretty much everything in a market that's going to be worth 27 billion with a B dollars in really just 2 years. So from a franchise perspective, from an owner perspective, you're the go-to for all of these things, which is absolutely incredible and really kind of positions Medspa810 to just absolutely take off with this boom over the next few years. So very cool. Talk a little bit about the owner. So I'm guessing the owner isn't the person, doing the injections, or more than likely probably not. But tell us a little bit about what you guys look for in an owner and kind of what they're going to be doing day in, day out.
So owners in this system can be those that are service providers. Maybe they're an esthetician, maybe they're a medical service provider from an LPN, an RN, a doctor even. A lot of times you're going to find that those that are investing in these types of categories are those that are looking to diversify their portfolios, have a business that's in an industry that doesn't seem to ever take a real decline. So with that being said, our owners are either already franchise owners in another system, maybe looking to get into the beauty category, or families. We have mom, dad, daughter that own a spa, best friends that own spas because they just really have a passion for spas. We have owners that actually were maybe in a different category in the spa end, but didn't have all of the service offerings that we have here and wanted to be able to branch into that and didn't know how to add those components. Because again, the joy about being with a franchise is that there's buying power, there's opportunity to bring in products and services that a single owner operator probably couldn't do as efficiently and cost effectively as you can being part of a franchise organization. So you don't really have to have a experience in this. One thing that I will tell people is that there are limits in certain states about being able to provide these services and not have some medical director part of your organization, whether it's a business partner, whether you are partnered with them from the legality perspective of being able to run the spa, or in some of our spas, they're actually on site providing additional services tied to the Medspa810. So we as a franchise, this is really big, guys. I would tell you a lot of franchises don't really get involved in that. They kind of leave you to your own devices, but we help you find that partner from that medical director oversight space. That's something to think about here. Yes, it adds a little layer of complexity, but if you remind yourself, you are putting needles into people's faces. You are using laser to remove certain hair follicles from someone's body. So you're definitely going to need to have that oversight depending upon state requirements. So we as a franchise know what those regulations are, know how to help you find that partner, and how to help you set up that business plan really on how the business is going to support that partnership from an economic level. So Medspa is really positioned to help franchise owners get into this industry and have that diversification of wealth.
Well, and you're talking about the kind of that medical director, it also creates a barrier of entry. And you're also, again, you've got all of those services, right? So if it's maybe one of the more basic ones, you might not need that, but then you're only doing one thing. So that again can be an added layer in this, but it also can really turn into a positive for the potential growth of the business. So that's a little bit of the owner. What's your kind of your staff, your team? What do they look like?
Great question. So we had talked medical director, that's from a high level. That's going to be an oversight of looking at charts and providing sign off. Then you're going to have estheticians, anywhere from 5 to 6 to start. Being able to provide the full depth and breadth of services. As an owner, you're likely to hire those that are skilled trained labor. An esthetician in most markets has to apply for licensure in the state and be approved to provide these types of services. And then as they continue to grow their career with you, you provide subsequent training. Maybe they don't necessarily have laser experience, so you help them get trained in that. So typically you're going to start with about 5 to 6 staff members that are licensed estheticians. If you're going to operate this from a semi-absentee model where you're necessarily keeping your job, you're likely to have a spa manager, someone in there running the schedule, managing the day-to-day, making sure that everything is functioning on an operations side, where you as a franchise owner are going to really focus on making sure the money is going where it needs to go and that you're driving business into that operation. So you may, from an infrastructure perspective, have that spa manager on a full-time basis.
Gotcha. What do we need for a location? What's that look like?
Location is about 18 to 1900 square feet. It's going to hold about 6 to 8 treatment rooms. It's going to have that guest waiting area and check-in space, a space for product, because we do have a percentage of the business of selling products that we utilize in our services to maintain that beauty. So you're going to look to have that size retail in a strong traffic-driven area, someplace where people can find you and see you. You're also going to be looking for strong co-tenant operations. Think boutique, other boutique beauty. You're going to think of, let me think about this for a second, fitness, Pure Bars, Orange Theory. You're going to look for mid to high end retail A locations, because you're going to really want to be able to utilize or piggyback off of what they're doing on marketing efforts to drive notoriety for your Medspa810. Now, what you just popped up here are the steps of what we do to help you in the real estate process. On top of helping you source your staff, we're very involved holding hands together to find the right real estate location, because you do want to be in the right spot. So once a franchise owner comes on board, we do a really deep dive market assessment. We go out into your market, analyze it from a consumer driven opportunity and from a real estate driven opportunity. Those things people think are exclusive, but they aren't. We help provide a financial model, which a lot of franchises don't do. So you would become a franchise owner before we start telling you, hey, this is what we think these locations could make from an economic perspective, but we do get into the weeds with you once you're on board. We help you craft a business plan, and that's really important because there are specific lenders that we work with that will fund this type of development. Med spas are not inexpensive, guys, but you don't produce a business that gives you an average ticket of $1,000 off of it being a $100,000 investment either. So we work on those things to help you secure that financing and funding that will help drive the site selection opportunity. We do lease negotiations with you, and if it's not your strong suit, on your behalf. We have a group of industry leaders that will help you identify and define who is the architect of the project, coordinating the construction, making sure the build out is specific to the brand image. Because again, that's why you look to partner with the franchises, because they bring those skill sets and that consistency of model to your market, so that anywhere anyone goes and they see the Medspa810, they know exactly what they're getting into. So we really work with you on that step-by-step process of sourcing that real estate and getting your med spa open.
Well, because with any retail related business, the 3 most important words: location, location, location. And I think it's a big thing that sometimes scares people, is if you haven't had the experience of finding a location for your business, which most people haven't, how do you know what is the right location? All the things that go into that. And so as you kind of jumped into that, can be a little overwhelming, but so is the level of support that you guys are able to give your future owners to be able to make sure that they have the absolute most optimal location. And one of the advantages of an emerging franchise is pretty much everywhere somebody's going to launch one of these, you're going to have the pick of the best spots. You're not getting the B, C, D, E, F locations from a, I guess from a standpoint of what's the best. You really get to kind of pick and choose the best and the best, but you got a huge level of support from the franchisor on all of these things, because there is a lot that goes into that. So you mentioned money, in which we definitely want to, money. With this, give us just a quick overview of this. And always want to mention when we have any kind of number slide or conversation, this is coming right out of the franchise disclosure documents. As we are working with our clients vetting any franchise, we're going to help kind of get into the weeds on this a little bit more. But just give us a high level peek at some of the numbers behind Medspa810.
Sure. So if you were considering Medspa810, you're going to pay that initial franchise fee of $59,500. It's a single unit. We do give discounts for multiple unit development. And that's the first amount of money that you're going to cut. That's going to get you onboarded into the system, getting all of that support from a real estate, construction, operations, hiring, medical director support, all of the things that we've discussed come inclusion of that fee. Once you get your spot open and operating and you're bringing in those revenue dollars, you're going to see that total of 8% going to the franchise to continue that support, additional marketing support, really building the brand in your territory. So a lot of questions in and around the brand fund fee that I will gladly answer if you guys are considering, venturing into the med spa category. Startup location costs are ranging here from roughly 300,000 to close to 600,000. Really, guys, that's dependent upon size of your real estate and all of the equipment that you're going to purchase. We do offer a large variety of services. You don't have to start with all of those services. So you could see this cost sit somewhere in the middle based on maybe I'm going to do some laser, maybe I'll take cool sculpting at some point. Sidebar, there's some UV light processes that we do in some spas that the light alone is a very substantial cost to purchase that light. But so you could see a really good range. I always sit kind of in the middle in these investment costs from a conservative space. Again, the location size is going to really drive what those build out costs are going to look like. You go a little bit smaller, you might have fewer rooms. You want to have more rooms for growth, but really on the location space, you want to be able to grow yourself into a larger spot. Now, average unit volume, that AUV sits at that 607. It's really just from a perspective of we had a spa that was kind of grooming itself out of the 2020 pandemic space. The key numbers to kind of take away here is that you're likely to see your payroll costs sit somewhere in between the 25 to 30% of your revenues, where I have a spa that did about $432,000 last year, but their gross revenues minus the expenses, so you could still pull out dollars to pay certain expenses in your business, would get you at probably a 24% of your AUV. So if we take a look at the percentages versus these flat dollar amounts, there's a lot of opportunity to make a good strong amount of dollars and not necessarily have the highest revenue in the system, right? So even at that high revenue, they're still getting a gross revenue less disclosed expenses at about 17-18%. So that their labor costs are pretty high in that 1.4 million location. But again, average ticket on the $900 to $1,000 space, you can capitalize on that. We do have a membership model. That's important to know that members sign on board, and that's that reoccurring revenue piece where they'll come in and get a service once a month, but then they get discounts for additional services. So it's really important to kind of drive home the opportunity for your client base that we don't just do the one thing. We have multiple options. As you talked about, Tim, early on, is that you can be that one-stop shop for all things aesthetic beauty and come in and get massages or even even if you just need a wax on your eyebrows or a thread on your eyebrows, they do that too. So from really small services to really large services, it really is that one-stop shop for these things. So you could really drive those tickets to be much higher and see a really strong flow through to the bottom line of these spas.
Well, and I think normally when you see a business that has a high ticket price like this, where you're thinking close to $1,000, that tends to be kind of a, hey, one off. They're not coming in here all the time. This is, whether it's membership or recurring, you've got very long lasting relationships with these clients because they're having such a great experience. They love how it makes them look, how it makes them feel, and they keep coming back. So that's not just, $900 once and never see them again. That may be, could theoretically be basically every month, right? As they continue, and then continue to add new people to your kind of your customer base, correct?
Correct. So with a lot of these services, you have to come back more than one time, right? Like let's take laser treatment, for instance. If you're going to get the facial hair on your upper lip removed with a laser, you come back every 6 weeks or so to have those treatments done. And typically they tell you have to come 5 or 6 times for the hair to grow back. It's not a one time I come and do it and it's going to be gone for life. Like, so it's continual treatment. And so being a part of that membership model gives you the opportunity to kind of come in there and get that service done. But you may also tie it to a couple of weeks later. I need to get a facial. So then you get a discount with those facial offerings. So when you're getting some of those higher ticketed services, like a laser or a cool sculpting, being part of the membership option kind of allows you to continue to target that. Like on the cool sculpting side, you pick a spot where you are targeting, as you would say, your fat areas there, Tim Parmeter. Where on the female side, I may want to do my underarms and my mommy belly. Those are all individual spaces that would be 1, 2, 3, 4 treatment areas. So you would need to come back every couple of weeks to get those services done. So being a part of that membership model would be really beneficial to those that want to treat multiple areas over a period of time.
Gotcha. Awesome. So all fantastic stuff about Medspa810, both just from a consumer standpoint, but just some of the amazing benefits that you have as a potential owner of this. What are we missing? I guess maybe last thing, and I greatly appreciate you taking the time to chat with us today, Danielle. But anything else you would want us to know about Medspa810 that we've not already talked about?
Well, I love that question because it always stumps me, because I'm sure there are 1,000 things that everybody should know about the med spa option. I kind of want to rest on this space of I've worked in the franchise industry for a long time, worked with a lot of different franchise options. And I myself am very particular about who I work with and what franchise opportunity I tend to partner with. The piece here that I think is important for the viewership to know is Medspa recently partnered with a private equity company that's very vested in franchising. They have a strong history in the spa category and the beauty and wellness category, and are investors and long-term investors in franchise businesses in lots of different verticals and what that means for you as an owner, right? Because this is a micro emerging franchise. I don't have 100 units out there, and that's not something to be scared of. It's actually, to your point, it's going to give you a lot of opportunity to help take the model to the next level, or bring your experience in the beauty category to our system and help us be better and stronger. But that private equity company piece frightens some people, but in my head, it's something that's really important to the growth and success, because that means we're going to be investing in you as owners and in this franchise to really take it to the next level and grow it rapidly. So you have that strong brand growth across the country, that med spa becomes a household name in your area, and you're the deliverer of those beauty services to your community. So it's important to kind of think about that partnership partnership as you consider this Medspa 810 opportunity as you go forward. So that would be the one piece I would want to throw out there that I think is super important for those looking to invest into a franchise. What is the back end of that system, and how are they going to help us grow long term? And you really want to make sure that there's a depth there of the partnership that you're going to go into. And so Medspa 810 definitely has that, and that should provide comfort to anyone considering the med spa industry.
Well, and I think it's some of the key elements in finding that perfect match for people aren't necessarily things that are Googleable, right? This is things you see online are more consumer facing, and
Right.
the things behind the scenes with the franchise, their training, their support, their culture, all of those things. That's hugely important for a franchise owner, especially a first-time franchise owner, right? And so, can it feel a little more risky for an emerging brand that doesn't have 100, 200, 300? Some people they like a little bit more data, but one of the things that really caught my eye with this opportunity was, one, that's a private equity group that has been in franchising, knows this space, and has been highly successful. And quite frankly, whenever I see you latching on to a new brand, I know they're about to take off because, again, all of those things are in place. So just kind of a little behind the scenes thing, where, again, you're going to have an incredible level of support, and you've got an organization that is, though Medspa 810 is new, the people behind it are not in any way, shape, or form, and have been nothing but hugely successful with this. So appreciate you, Don. I appreciate you bringing that up and sharing that. So Danielle, thank you so much for coming on and joining us today. We greatly appreciate talking to you and hearing about Medspa 810.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks the Fran Coach community for always being so gracious with your time and presenting franchise opportunities like this to the masses. We look forward to continuing to work together and bringing beauty to your backyard.
I love it. And we'd like to thank really everybody for joining us today to learn a little bit about Medspa 810. We hope this will help enlighten those interested in franchise ownership to some of the amazing possibilities that are out there. If you'd like to learn more about becoming a franchise owner for Medspa 810 or any of the 500 plus brands we are partnered with, then let's schedule a brief introductory call. You can find us online at francoach.net or any social media site. For our podcast listeners out there, please be sure to subscribe to the Franchising 101 series wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Also, check out our new podcast website, franchising101.net. Again, there's never any fee for our service, so we encourage you to take that first step today to help create your better tomorrow. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Stay safe, and we'll look